Hello, welcome to Uketopia Diaries, my personal journey over the last 12 months to 2 years. This is chapter 3 and it's called My Very First Ukulele, the Dolphin Soprano, but not to be my last. My little soprano Dolphin, it was probably around about 20 inches long and about 50 centimetres, or a rule and a half to give you a bit of an idea. Now I don't have it now because I've actually sold it long time ago now. Seems like forever. And but I tell you, when I had it initially, I thought, oh, this is so cute, so little, little biggy. And I just thought, oh. And then when I started thinking, oh yeah, this chord, C, A minor, and F major, so forth. When I started working out the chords, it's like you've got this tiny little neck and these, you're trying to get these little fingers to form these chord shapes, and it's like, yeah, I just thought there's got to be more, and I knew there were different size ukes. So what I did was I thought, nah, look, I need to see what else is out there in size. So I went around and had a look at the different retailers that had the different size ukes, your soprano, your concert, and just really got a feel for what they were like. And then, of course, I've come across the tenor, which is the one I've actually ended up getting most comfortable with. So what happened after I sold the soprano, I was looking around. I couldn't believe so many different types of ukes, laminates, solid woods. Then there's resonators, which have got the cone in them. You might have seen them with a silver or chrome, big, looks like a colander, we call them in Australia, with little holes in it. And they've got actually inside a cone made out of aluminium, and it resonates the sound. So I ended up got one of those to play with, and in the end I didn't particularly like it. So so I'll go into more detail about the other types of ukes and laminates and solid woods and things like that. I've got two examples here. I've got here a tiki laminate, and my pride and joy, my Pono, which is a solid wood, and that's high G and a low G, to give you a bit of an example of what they're like. So the tuners, now that was the next thing, was, oh, okay, so I need to tune it. And there are so many brands of tuners out there, and of course that's, as I keep saying, always do your research and look into all the different types of tuners out there. But in the end, I decided on getting the little Snark SN6X. It sounds like a 1960s science fiction movie, like a secret rocket, the Snark SN6X. So that's that little beauty there. Sorry about the little ladybirds that I've put on them, but we've got them everywhere here in Australia. And so yeah, so that's a little Snark. And what I'll do, as I do with the other videos, at the end I'll put an information sheet together. So yeah, so basically this is the little Snark, and basically they're great because unlike some tuners, you can be in a room full of people and still tune it, and not worrying about telling everyone to be quiet, trying to tune, because it goes off the vibration of the instrument, which is so handy. And so yeah, so that's a little Snarky there, and I've had that for probably 18 months now, and I just love it. But there's a lot out there on the market. So I mean, basically you just clip it on like that, and turn the little fellow on, and this is a high G. Now the acronym for that is goats can eat anything. If you want to know your string, try and remember your string. So that's your G, C, E, A. Goats can eat anything. So G, C, E, A, that's your strings. And one of the things that you'll probably hear about is my dogs have fleas, and you think, well, I don't own a dog, so how can it have fleas? But what it is, it's my dogs have fleas. So I'm sure you write that down in your little book of interesting information. But and then of course, so this is the high G, So this very string there, the G string is high, and then with my little pride and joy Pono, see how low it is? More like a guitar, they say. So yeah, so that's the different high and low strings. So of course in my research I'm thinking, okay, not only do I have to worry about finding the size of uke that I want, now I've got the additional research I need to do. Do I want a low, do I want a high? So I thought, oh. So again, Google, and I thought, well, the little Dolphin I had was a high G, and so really I was more familiar with the high G because that's really the only one I had. So I got the Tiki, and this is the thing. For your very first uke or second uke, you really don't want to spend too much money on it because you might find that it's not the right size, and that's one thing at least I did. I researched and thought, well, I don't want one that just sounds crap, but then I don't want one that's too expensive, then find out, okay, it's not for me, and, I've got to sell it. So the biggest thing is that they say, ukes are such a personal thing, strings are such a personal thing, everything's such a personal thing. And I thought, how can it be? Like, you buy a uke, okay, there's 4 sizes, and what's so difficult about it? But, looking and reviewing and looking at things over the last probably 2 years, it's just so diverse, the information that's out there on on your types of ukuleles, and then you've got the sizes, and then of course the strings. So yeah, so that's basically your high G, low G. So you've got to think about which one you really prefer. The high G is more your traditional ukulele, more banjo-ish, if that makes any sense. And then you've got the low G, which is more like a guitar sound, and so of course, so I've ended up getting the little Tiki, and then of course, then on top of that, you've got, do you want an electric? And it's like, electric guitar. And I thought, electric uke. And I thought, electric uke. I thought, and this was pretty well priced, and it's just got, it's electric. And like both of these, you've got the little input there for your amps. So, but then you've got preamps and so many different types, which I'll go into a bit more detail next episode. But I thought now strings, because often with your lower end ukuleles that you buy, you'll think the strings, there's quite a bit of discussion around most new ukes of the lower end. Often people will change the strings because strings are such a personal choice. And again, it's a whole new world with strings. You've got wound metal, you've got wound nylon, you've got titanium, you've got fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon much easier on your fingers, especially for beginners, which is what these 2 sets are. And then you've got nylons, and in those probably first 12 months, I settled. Again, it's all personal choice, but I've settled on the fluorocarbons. Okay, well, like fluorocarbons now, again, you've got so many different brands and types. So, that's a whole new research that you're going to have to do. But again, I'll come back to YouTube. There are so many great info videos on YouTube that cover strings, and what you'll hear time and time again is strings are such a personal thing. What I like, you might not like. So, and when I first heard that in the early days, I thought, well, if you like it, of course I'm going to like it. And but yeah, no, it's not how it works. So yeah, so for me personally, I've settled on the Worth's fluorocarbons, and the browns have a soft sound, especially on a solid wood instrument as opposed to a laminate. But again, as I said, it's a personal choice. So okay, so I finally got my Tiki, and as I said, I've experimented with the resonator, which I didn't like, got rid of that. So I've got the size, the tenor, I've got the strings, fluorocarbons, but I was experimenting with strings for a long time during that. And then it's like, okay, well now I'm ready to rock and roll, but now I need chords. Okay, chords. So I had a look at chords, ukulele chords. And there's millions of ukulele chords. So I thought, okay, so bit of research, further research, and I found that there's 4 or 5 main chords. You've got the major C, F, and G, and then A minor. Like with those 4 chords, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs that you can play. So once you master those four or five chords, and then you can just play songs, like I'm Yours, All Along the Watchtower, Counting Stars, Riptide, and there's so many others, and you can play them either in a high G or a low G. So, and then that's when the fun starts to really, you get to form a couple of chords. You get the sore fingers for the first few weeks, and you think, it really depends on your practice. Practice really, again, there's a lot of information out there, but if you can do 15 minutes a day, that's far better than doing 1 hour a week or 2 hours a fortnight or something like that. So it's that continuity and practice. And what happens within a couple of weeks, you'll find your fingertips start to firm up and thicken, and that takes a lot of the pain off. And that's the advantage of the fluorocarbon strings, because they're much more gentler on your fingers. So, and just talking about fingertips and nails, and again, that's another whole segment. It's like, well, what's the big deal with your nails? And there is, again, so much information out there, nails, short, long, and as a general rule, and as I found out through my personal experience, is that on your fingers, keep your nails low, and don't have any sharp corners. Again, lots of information out there on nails and how to trim them, and your strumming fingers, you tend to have your nails slightly higher than the top of your fingertips. But I did a little bit of research not that long ago, and there's a great instructor, as there are lots out there, called Matt Dahlberg, and he's from Ukulele Underground, and he has these webcam tutorials, and there's one, episode 11, and he goes into great detail about nail care and filing. And so again, getting back to the chords, you've got your 4 or 5 chords. So I've learnt them over many months, and then I googled some songs, of course, some simple songs, basic strumming. I mean, there's so many different strumming styles. Again, there's so much to it. You've got so that's your C chord. So you've got your traditional. So you've got your basic strumming, and that's all you really need to start off with. And you can even just do your down strums, or and then you can slowly, as you get experience, as you get to know the chords. So that's your C, G, F, A, and you notice how the high G is very traditional ukulele. It's got that real tinny, ringy, banjo-y sort of sound, and then you've got my little Pono here, which are, as I said, both tenors. So it's much more like a guitar. So that, you C, F, G. Have a look on YouTube. Have a look at different songs that are out there for beginners. And as I said, there are many instructional teachers out there on YouTube. There's the Ukulele Teacher, which is one of the best ones for beginners. But there's 10 Thumbs, there's Bernadette Music, and many, many others. Cynthia Lynn, as a general rule, beginner, I think the Ukulele Teacher is probably one of the better ones. But yeah, just have a look. Google ukulele teachers for beginners, and they'll often be having the songs, basic songs, simple songs, and songs that have been around for decades. So it's like a whole new world opens up once you start looking into it. So thanks again for having a look at Uketopia Diaries, and take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye.